Emma, 24, a hardworking and resilient nursing student in San Francisco. In the break room of a San Francisco hospital, Emma stood among her coworkers, her phone in trembling hands. A message from her father flashed on the screen. "Come to Victoria's wedding, or your tuition will be canceled." Her heart sank. Her final semester of nursing school was 2 weeks away. At 24, Emma, the younger sister, had always lived in the shadow of her older sister, Victoria, 26, a law graduate, a perfect fiancée, a perfect life. Her parents nurtured Victoria's every dream, while Emma's hard work, her part-time nursing internship at the hospital, and her paycheck-to-paycheck existence were invisible to them. Yet, her eyes shone with pain and a firm, unwavering resolve. She would forge her own path. I wasn't a star kid with a perfect life, but I discovered something in Victoria's perfect engagement that changed everything. Has your family ever treated you like this? Share your story below because what I'm about to share reveals the lengths some parents will go to protect their beloved child. This whole nightmare started 3 months ago at a Sunday family dinner. Victoria brought a huge diamond ring that nearly blinded everyone at the table. Derek proposed, she squealed, showing the ring to Mom and Dad. "We're getting married in the spring." Derek Hutchinson, an investment banker, drives a BMW, wears suits that cost more than my monthly rent. My parents were drooling over it. "Oh, honey, that's amazing," Mom said excitedly. "Emma, you'll be maid of honor." "Absolutely." I nearly choked. "Actually, I don't think so, Emma." "Don't embarrass us at the wedding," Victoria interrupted. That sweet smile never left her face. "Maybe get a real dress instead of your special thrift store dress." Dad nodded. "There will be special people at Victoria's wedding. Emma, you have to understand that this isn't about you." I tried to refuse to be in the wedding party. I had clinical rotations, a job at the hospital, final exams coming up. There were real responsibilities. "School can wait," Mom said firmly. "Your sister's happiness comes first. Loyalty to family isn't optional." That's when I realized I was trapped. But then something happened that changed everything. I was helping Mom clean up after dinner when I heard Derek on the phone in the hallway. Listened. He thought everyone had left, but I was still in the kitchen.
"No, Sarah."
"I can't come home tonight." "I told you not to."
He stopped.
"I love you too, baby."
"Kiss the kids from me."
"Sarah, kids." My blood froze. Derek was married. My dear sister was about to marry someone who already had a wife and kids. But that was just the beginning of the nightmare. The dress fitting was excruciating. Mom and Dad paid for Victoria's designer gown, while I had to spend $300 on my bridesmaid dress, which I'd only wear once. When I complained about the price, Dad said, "It's an investment in your sister's happiness. Family comes first." The engagement party was even worse. Mom and Dad had invited everyone they knew, friends, neighbors, even people from their country club. At the social gathering, Emma stood next to her mother, where her voice was cold and formal. "This is our second daughter, Emma." "Not our daughter, not our youngest, just second." A harsh, scornful word that stung Emma's heart. Victoria, on the other hand, received royal honors. Victoria graduated from law school with honors, Dad would boast proudly. "She'll work at the most prestigious firm in town." His eyes sparkled, but for Emma, there was only contempt. Her face remained calm, but her eyes shone with pain and a firm, newborn resolve. She wouldn't be just the other one. When people asked what I was doing, the answer was always the same. "Oh, Emma's in school too. Nursing." As if nursing wasn't a real profession. As if saving lives was just a cute hobby. But Dad's warning came when I finally tried to set boundaries. I told him I couldn't take time off work for every wedding appointment. I had to focus on my final exams and my hospital shift. My sister's wedding, or he said in an ice-cold voice. "You can't do both." The danger was clear. Play along or lose everything you've worked for. Meanwhile, I was researching Derek. Deep dives on social media, public record searches, anything I could find. And what I saw made me sick to my stomach. Derek Hutchinson was married to Sarah Hutchinson. They had 2 young children. The marriage certificate was from only 2 years ago, and there was no record of a divorce. I tried to tell my parents. I even showed them the evidence. You're just jealous because your sister found a successful man. Mom was furious. Stop ruining Victoria's happiness with your scheming, Dad said. They didn't want to see the truth. Victoria's lavish wedding meant more to them than saving her from the betrayal. The final insult came at Victoria's bridal shower. 60 women gathered at her mother's country club, and they showered her with expensive gifts and compliments. When it was time for the speech, Victoria stood up with her glass of champagne. I want to thank everyone for coming here, she said. Having true supporters here who want to see me succeed means a lot to me. Their eyes met mine from across the room, unlike some family members who are simply jealous and can't stand seeing others happy. Every family has its disappointments, Emma said. All eyes were on her, her face flushed with embarrassment, but she remained silent. Her disappointed daughter was secretly exposing Derek's double life, social media screenshots, the marriage certificate, call records to his real wife, Sarah. Sarah had no idea her fiancé was cheating. Emma, presumed jealous, was trying to protect Victoria. She secretly applied for scholarships, hoping to free her studies from the family mortgage. That's when Janet, her nursing supervisor and now mentor, intervened. Emma's eyes shone with pain and strong, independent determination. She was the guide I desperately needed. Emma, what your family is doing is called financial abuse, she told me during a break. They use money to control your behavior and force you into situations that make you uncomfortable. Janet helped me understand that I had choices. I applied for scholarships, received all the financial aid I could. I didn't need my parents' money to finish school, even if it meant risking everything. I called Derek's real wife, Sarah. The conversation was heartbreaking. He's engaged to someone else, she whispered into the phone. But we're married. We have kids. He comes home every night. She agreed to meet me. She brought their marriage certificate, family photos, even a video of Derek playing with their children a few days ago. Meanwhile, my family's demands were increasing. They wanted me to quit my job at the hospital completely and focus solely on wedding preparations. The wedding is in 2 weeks, Mom said. Victoria needs your full attention. I have to work. I need money. We'll give you an allowance. Dad offered to pay $22 a day for wedding errands.
$20?
That was less than I'd earned in 2 hours at the hospital. Then the last drop came. Dad sat me down with a serious expression. Emma, we've been thinking. Victoria needs more money for the wedding. The flowers alone will cost $9,000. He slid some papers across the table. We need you to take out a student loan for your last semester's fees. That way, we can use your tuition to make Victoria's day memorable. I stared at the loan applications. They wanted me to take out a loan so they could buy even more expensive flowers for Victoria. When I hesitated, Dad said, family sacrifices for family. That's how loyalty is. That night, I called Janet, crying. She listened to everything I had to say, then said something that changed my life. Emma, you have a choice. You can let them ruin your future with a lie, or you can save both yourself and your sister. The wedding day arrived. I arrived at the church with a manila envelope full of evidence and Sarah's phone number, who was waiting in her car outside. Victoria looked stunning in her designer gown, completely clueless about what was about to happen. Emma, you're late, Mom whispered as I entered the bridal suite. The ceremony starts in 30 minutes. We need to talk, I said, looking at Victoria. Dad stepped forward, his face flushed with anger. If you're going to make a scene on your sister's beautiful day, this beautiful day of your sister is based on a lie. I interrupted, pulling out a piece of paper. Victoria, I need to show you something before you walk down that aisle. Victoria's face paled as I spread Derek's marriage certificate on the vanity table. Photos of him with his real family. Screenshots of his social media posts last week of him kissing his wife. That's impossible, Victoria whispered, her hands shaking as she picked up the photos. Just then, Derek entered the room, still adjusting his tie. Why are you taking so long? The guests are getting restless. He was stunned by the evidence scattered on the table. Derek, Victoria's voice was barely audible. What is this, Victoria? I can explain, I said softly. He's been married to her for 2 years. They have children. Derek's face went white. Emma isn't lying.
She's jealous.
And if you ruin this marriage, you won't be our daughter anymore. Dad threatened, pointing a finger at me. I looked at Dad, then Mom, then Victoria, who was crying while staring at photos of Derek's real family. You chose social status over your daughter's safety, I said calmly. You jeopardized my studies to cover up his lies. Tears streamed down her face. You tried to tell me. You tried to warn me. And I called you jealous. I was trying to protect you. She stood up, removed her veil, and grabbed my hand. We're leaving, Victoria. Think about what people will say, Mom pleaded. We can work this out. Think about what people will say if I marry a man who's already married. Victoria replied. We left together, leaving my parents and Derek to explain to 200 guests why the bride disappeared. 6 months later, I graduated with honors from nursing school thanks to my hard-earned scholarships and financial support. Victoria moved in with me temporarily while she dealt with the legal mess Derek had created and rebuilt her life. But I had learned to set boundaries. No more financial manipulation. No more threats. No more putting Victoria's needs above basic honesty and integrity. Victoria and I are closer than ever. He finally understood how much our parents' favoritism had hurt both of us. He by allowing us to make disastrous decisions, and I by making myself feel worthless. Sometimes protecting someone means disappointing others. But that's what true family loyalty is. Where are you watching from? Write it down. I'm always watching. If you've ever had to choose between family pressure and doing the right thing, tell me your story. Subscribe to read more stories about resisting family manipulation and finding your strength.